So, hey, welcome back to another edition of Just Trucking On Down the Line. I am your host, and probably pretty much the only guy you'll see on here, Charles Smith. Anyway, I promised that I would make another video tonight, and so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Um, we seem like we get a lot of complaints about what students experience when they're out there on the road with their trainer. And as a member of the driver advisory board and as an experienced driver, frequently we find when we take these complaints to members of management or our fleet manager or somebody like that, not a lot gets done with it. The biggest part of the problem with that is that the complaint or the acknowledgement that there is an issue going on doesn't come from the person who experienced it. So this message is to those people who are in our training program who are not sure what to do. Yes, at the end of the day, there's some things that you just kind of got to suck it up. You don't like the guy or the lady who is your trainer. You don't like their music, you don't like their politics, you don't this, that, the other. But there are certain basic things in life that you should expect. You should expect a quality training experience. That person is being paid well to make sure that you know the job so that you can go out and you can drive a truck so that you can first learn how to drive the truck, but that you can go out there, drive the truck, and run it like a business and run freight for prime, make them some money, make you some money, and make everybody happy. So I did a post on Facebook yesterday, and it received a much more positive response than I expected it would. And I've had a couple of folks say that I should make a video about it. So I'm going to go ahead and read what I wrote yesterday, and probably add some commentary in as we go along. And as always, I encourage you to subscribe below, and there'll be a little subscribe thing that shows up like down there somewhere toward the end of the video. And I ask that you, I ask that you please go ahead and uh, and ask any questions, make comments. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and read the statement that I put on Facebook last night and this morning. And if you've got questions, again, please feel free to ask. My email's below. You can find me on Facebook. You can find my Just Trucking On Down the Line Facebook page. Ask questions on there. Join up, be a member. You can watch my travels across the country. Anyway, this message is for students and trainees in the Prime training program. You can ask the experienced drivers and trainers in the group, and the vast majority of us will tell you that the training program at Prime is the best in the industry. Having gone through somebody else's training program, I absolutely feel that this is true. Having had my wife go through the training program, she went through PSD program, the part where you get your CDL with another trainer, and then I did her TNT program after she got her license. I think that gave us a good experience. At the time, I did not feel I was the right person to teach my wife how to drive a semi. and, and she would agree that that was probably the best thing to do. It was probably good for our marriage, probably good for our relationship. And it gave us a good experience, and it let me focus on teaching her the business of running the truck once she actually had her license. Anyway, well, we're fortunate at Prime to have a passionate group of instructors, trainers, and in-house personnel who make it their mission and passion. And I keep wanting to read this and kind of look at the camera at the same time, so I apologize for looking sort of like a dweeb. My wife says that I sometimes sound like a corrupt prison guard or a convicted criminal. Um, anyway, thank you, honey, love you. Um, anyway, we're fortunate to have a passionate group of instructors, trainers, and in-house personnel to make it their mission and passion to make this the best possible program and improve upon it where it's needed. And that's part of why I'm sending this message out tonight. This mentality does go all the way to the top of the organization. It truly does. Robert Lowe is one of the most approachable CEOs you'll ever meet. This is a guy who you could meet in the hallway and you can say hi to him and talk to him, and he'll ask, hey, how's things going? And he kind of really does want an honest answer. He wants to know what's going on. He'll be the first to tell you that Prime is not a perfect company, but he wants to do what it takes to make it a better company. So that says a lot. Company I drove for before, met the CEO. He's a nice guy. I could not have gone to him and addressed a specific individual problem with him and felt like that I believe that he cared, but I don't believe that he would have been the right person. I don't believe he'd have been the person that would have taken action on it. Robert will take action on it. He might ask you, have you gone to a reefer supervisor, or I'm sorry, not just reefer, flatbed guys count too. I get it. Tanker, yeah, you too. Anyway, have you talked to a supervisor? Have you talked to your fleet manager? Have you gone through the channels? Sometimes the answer is yes, I did, and I didn't get satisfaction. And so sometimes Robert is the person you have to talk to. Um, anyway, that being said, we need your help. A number of Facebook groups we hear about the horrors that some of you experience while on the road, and the number of reasons that you choose not to address them with higher ups. What happens is that these complaints filter through various sources, including the driver advisory board and other drivers who hear of incidents that occur out on the road. And they try to move it up the chain. They often meet resistance because the student or the trainee is hesitant to bring it up. In orientation, you were given a number of resources and contacts to approach that in the event something not right occurs. Please use those resources. They're there for a reason. They include Stan Casterkey, Steve Larson, who I both know personally, and I know they're good men, and I know they care about this program, and that they're invested in it personally and professionally, and they want to make it the best. And now we have Chris Martin, who was a fleet manager for 18 years, who is helping to coordinate things once someone's completed the PSD program and and has moved on to TNT, making sure that that transition happens well, and that the person establishes a relationship with the fleet manager, and that they meet up with the trainer, and all of those things happen. We hear excuses about why people do not complain. They don't want to do something. The first one, I fear retribution. If you feel that you'd be penalized for bringing up an incident, please don't let that deter you. We can't fix bad training situations if we don't know that they exist, if they're perceived as a myth. Keep going up the chain, all the way to Robert if you have to. Help us fix these bad situations. The experienced drivers and the driver advisory board and the other trainers can't fix it if we get the story of, hey, this student told me this, or this trainee told me that. If you as the student or the trainee will step up and say, hey, guess what? This is what's happening to me. The next excuse we hear, I don't want to mess with my trainer's money. You shouldn't know about your trainer's money. Never, 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 never. Don't worry about whether he or she is broke because they didn't run enough miles or something like that. It's not your problem. Your job right now is to learn how to get your CDL and then learn how to drive that truck and then how to operate it as a business. Let their performance as a trainer show you that they're worth that money. You have one job. Again, one job. Get your license and learn enough to be ready to run your own truck when it's time to upgrade. I'm going to be rude. Screw their money. Don't worry about it. If they're doing their job, they'll make more than enough money to do the things that they want and need to do. You take care of you. Okay? Now, don't lie. Okay? Don't throw the trainer under the bus for something that didn't really happen. But if you're being put in a situation where the trainer lives like a pig, you don't deserve that. You don't have to put up with that. If they're making inappropriate comments to you, you deserve better than that. If they're making you unsafe, say something, please. Next one. I don't want to extend my training time. I understand. I get it. If you're in a situation where you aren't learning, you're only going to end up being miserable. And honestly, you might end up leaving Prime before your commitment is up because you weren't trained right. Nobody wants that. A lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of people are involved in you getting your CDL and you learning how to run your truck. Say something. The next one is hard. My trainer is friends with their fleet manager. A good driver and fleet manager relationship should be a good driver fleet manager relationship should be able to distinguish the line between personal and professional relationship. If you feel a personal relationship with a trainer or fleet manager is keeping you from having a beneficial training cycle, contact an operations supervisor or Chris Martin. I'll tell you, I have a good relationship with my fleet manager. And my fleet manager and I would consider each other friends. But we're also professional enough to know when we draw a line and say, hey, we got to do a job. We wouldn't have become friends if it hadn't been for the job. And if I did something to screw up the professional side of it, it probably would impact our friendship. But we don't do that. We know, we can joke around and we can laugh about things. When it's time to do the job, we do the job. He expects, in fact, he probably expects more from me because we do consider each other to be friends. Next one. Here's a big one. I want to rock the boat. I'm going to be loud. My wife's going to yell at me here in just a second. Rock the bloody boat. Splash. Make waves. The only way management is going to know how accurately about how bad your training experience is to hear it from you, the source. If you come to me and you tell me, Charles, this is what happened. This screwed up thing happened. They did this. They did that. They made me sleep in the top bunk. They never let me take a shower. They never did this. They never did that. They never did the other. The only thing I know how to do is drive the truck in a straight line. I can't back. I can't operate Qualcomm. I don't know what the pre-trip on a reefer is. I can tell the trainer, excuse me, I can tell my fleet manager. I can tell Jim Guthrie. I can tell Stan Outman, hey, guys, guess what? This student doesn't know these things. And they'll try to probably do a little follow-up and they'll try to find out what's going on. But if they hear it from you, it's going to carry a lot more weight, and frankly, it's going to get resolved a lot faster. Rock the bloody boat. I mean, the program isn't perfect. We want to make it better, but we need you to help us make it better. Another thing, I talk to students about this all the time. While you're in training, you should be communicating with your fleet manager at least once a week by telephone. Call them up. I usually tell my students, don't call them on Monday, don't call them on Friday. Things are always crazy on Monday, always crazy on Friday. Or don't call them on Tuesday after a holiday weekend. I tell my students, call on Wednesday, call on Thursday, a little bit after lunch. Those are times when usually they can have an opportunity to sit down and talk with them. This becomes crucial in any stage of your training. Your FM should be asking things about it. How are things going? How are things going with you and your trainer? Are you learning this? Have you done, did you do any mountains this week? How much backing are you doing? Are you working on the Qualcomm? Do you know how to slide pandas? If those things aren't being asked, they don't know that they're not being done. And you can go through 5 or 6 weeks training and not know this stuff, and all of a sudden be told, hey, guess what? It's time to go upgrade to your own truck. And if you don't know how to do them, you can find yourself in trouble because you didn't say anything. Please, please, please say something. You should be talking to them once a week. More if you need to. Do that. I have my students typically do it when I'm not around. We're stopping to take a 30-minute break, or we're going to stop and get lunch, or we're going to stop and get a shower. Hey, go call the fleet manager. Go have a conversation with them. I run my truck in such a manner that my students typically don't mind talking to the fleet manager in front of me because I have nothing to hide. If they said something happened, then it probably happened. And if it didn't, then I'm going to say this didn't happen, or it happened like this, or it happened like that. Or if you want to talk to them without me, I don't care, because I'll stand up in front of anybody and defend anything that I did while I was on the truck. You should have a trainer who feels the same way. I expect that if you tell them that I did something that you don't like or whatever, but you didn't feel comfortable telling me, my fleet manager will call me and say, hey man, guess what? Sort of stepped on it here, and let's get this thing fixed. It ain't so bad that we can't make it right, but the student didn't feel comfortable saying something. Okay, Ryan, guess what? We'll figure it out. And we do. I've sort of ad-libbed a little bit of this. This isn't exactly everything I put in Facebook. I've added to it. Right now, the upgrade process at Prime does not have a comprehensive test to see if you truly know all you need to know in order to run your truck. You go to some videos, you go to a couple of classes, you do some simulations again, and that's your upgrade process. Nobody's testing you to see if you know how to run a pre-trip on a reefer, if you know how to slide tandems, if you know that you're supposed to do certain messages on the Prime app or on the Qualcomm when you arrive and you depart a location. Those are things you're supposed to have learned over the last 6 to 8 weeks. And we expect that you know those things. You don't want to be doing a crash course in how to run your truck the day after you pick up your stuff. You want to get out on the road and you want to start making money as soon as you can. And having to stop and figure out all these things that you didn't learn while you were in training slows you down and keeps you from running your truck and making money, which is the whole reason you came here in the first place. Yes, the trucks are pretty. Yes, it's fun. You got to drive all over the country, blah, blah, blah. You're here to make money. We get it. I get it. You deserve a good training experience. Prime owes you a good training experience. Prime owes you respect. I can tell you that from the top of the organization down, the management wants to treat you with respect. If you're not being treated with respect, they want to know about it. You owe Prime your hard work and attention to learning the new skill that you're here to acquire. If you do that and Prime does their part, it should be a good relationship. But if something doesn't go the way that it should, then we gotta know. Yes, there are some you're gonna have to just suck it up. You went on home time and you're ready to come back, but your trainer can't get there. You guys live 500 miles apart, and it's going to take him a whole day to get there. Well, it might take a day for him to go get the load, and then another day to get to you. And you might have to meet him somewhere or her somewhere. And it might not be exactly the same spot that you were dropped off at. You work together and you deal with it. Unfortunately, sometimes we sit. It's trucking. I hate to say it, there's a little bit of suck it up to this, but there is a little bit of suck it up. But you deserve to be treated with respect. And you deserve to have attention paid to it if you're not being treated with respect. And likewise, if you're not being treated with respect in the terminal, if you're being treated like crap by somebody in the cafeteria, or in the maintenance department, or at driver lineup, or in the training department, there are people that you can talk to. There's always someone you can take this up the chain to. Please help us make this. If you're here, if you're at Prime, if you're a student or a trainee right now, you're part of the family. Help make the family better. As much as it's my job to make it a good place, it's your job too. Anyway, thanks for your time. It means a lot to me that you are at Prime, that you picked this company out of all the other companies that are out there that want to come and start your career and further your career. If there's anything that I can do, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. My email is below. You can reach me on Facebook. Link to my Just a Truckin' on Down the Line Facebook page is down there. You can hit me up on that. You can follow my travels when I'm remembering to post, which I'm always not so good about, or not always so good about. So, yeah. Anyway, if you take a second and click on the link below, right down there, hit subscribe, hit the little bell, do all that good stuff. I appreciate it. If you are new to Prime or you haven't quite filled out the application yet, I'd appreciate it if you would check out the link below and include me as a referral. My truck number is below. It's 701-265. My driver code is SMCRAY. But those are down in the description below. My recruiter, Dustin Hensley, his information is down below, as well as a link to the application to come to work at Prime. Anyway, have a great night. Hope you like this, and I'll see you on the next edition of Just a Truckin' on Down the Line. Bye.